It's hard to get broken up with and feel abandoned by the other person. And it's also hard to be the one that ends a relationship and deal with the heartbreak and consequences of that. Recently, I talked about the first scenario of being the one who gets left. And in this video, I want to address the second scenario and explain what you can do to process and heal from being the one who ended a relationship. The reason heartbreak is so incredibly painful is because a lot of what we need as humans to thrive is threatened and shaken up by heartbreak. Our need for connection, our need for self-esteem, our need for comfort and pleasure, and our need for control and orientation. There are probably other needs that are affected as well. These are some of the main needs that are important for mental health in adults. When you get broken up with, you experience a huge loss of control and orientation. Something really important is happening in your life, and in that moment, you can't control or influence it. The rug is being pulled from under your feet. And because that is so hard to sit with, the part in us that doesn't want to acknowledge that can trick our psyche so that we'll feel more in control again. The way this happens is by obsessing over everything you did wrong and what you could have done differently. Focusing on what you contributed to the breakup increases your sense of control and agency. However, this is also a huge blow to your self-esteem. Exaggerating the extent of your control and responsibility means that things will become your responsibility and your fault that you were never responsible for to begin with. And that makes you feel really horrible about yourself. The same thing can happen slightly differently if you're the one who ends a relationship. You can also get stuck in this mental loop of low self-esteem and regret, so that you don't have to feel that spot where your control and agency actually ends. This is an unhealthy coping mechanism to cope with a situation that we can't influence and isn't what we need it to be. This means you might have thoughts like, did I do the right thing breaking up? How did my problems contribute to our shared problems? Could I have done more to save our relationship while we were still together? Do I expect too much from my significant other? Should I have just been content with the way things were? Was I being selfish? To overcome this struggle with regret and low self-esteem, start by taking an honest look at what you did contribute to your shared problems. Write a list of all the unhelpful coping strategies and core beliefs you brought to the table. Then write a list of all the unhelpful coping strategies and core beliefs your ex contributed to your shared problems. Also write a list with all the reasons that led you to decide to break up. Make sure you're not being too hard on yourself and keeping your ex on a pedestal. You don't have to be mean, just be honest. You need this honesty so that you can recover your inner peace and self-esteem. As long as parts in you aren't willing to be fully aware of your ex's problems, you'll be stuck in low self-esteem and exaggerated regret. Yes, probably a big part in you still loves them and maybe wants them back. But if you hand the steering wheel over to that part in you, it'll make you forget about your ex's problems and the very good reasons you had for breaking up. And then you're back at feeling terrible about yourself. To process the breakup, it helps to keep yourself aware of the reasons you had for breaking up. Go back to your list whenever you need to. Remember the moment you decided to break up. Go back to all the little moments when you thought about it. Remember what it felt like. Trust yourself. Trust your gut. Trust your feelings. If you were suffering, you were suffering. The issues you had while you were together were real. Your basic emotional needs weren't being met. Your ex wasn't really willing to talk about it or work on it. You tried. There wasn't enough of a response. Having expectations isn't being extra or bougie. You're allowed to have needs. You'll have them anyway. We all do. It's what makes us human. We need our needs to be fulfilled to be happy and healthy. So breaking up was a step forward. You deserve a partner who's all in, who commits, who cares about you, who loves you the way you need to be loved. You deserve a partner who's willing to talk about problems when they come up, who's willing to listen and take your concerns seriously, and who's willing to invest the effort necessary to change what needs to be changed. Making a relationship work is not all your responsibility. A healthy relationship consists of two people that each carry their share in making life work and maintaining emotional well-being. It's not your job to be your partner's caretaker and not experience much caretaking yourself. Your partner also has a responsibility to take care of themselves, you, and their share of the work, emotionally, financially, and at home. Make inner room for the fact that you can't take this burden off of your ex's shoulders, even if you would have tried or wanted to. It couldn't have worked long term. And ultimately, it's not even what your ex needs, even though they might think so. What they need is to heal from their own wounds, grow personally and mature emotionally. And that's something that, when it comes down to it, isn't your responsibility and not under your control. So let go of it. You might think, but I could have worked harder or in more effective ways to make things work. Work through that doubt. Write down everything you want to learn, how you want to grow to communicate more effectively in the next relationship, and then come up with ideas how you can work on that. Forgive yourself for not having had these skills before. Many of us don't learn healthy and helpful coping and communication skills as we grow up and have to learn them later as adults. Your dysfunctional behavior came from what happened to you. It's not about what's been or is wrong with you. And then filter out the part of this doubt that comes from unhelpful core beliefs about yourself, relationships, and your responsibility in relationships. It's a good thing you decided not to repeat self-destructive patterns from your family of origin and childhood. It's a wonderful thing that you want to set your future and the future of your kids onto the fundament of a healthy relationship. You're worth it. Your kids are worth it. And your future is worth it. Thanks for being here. I hope this was helpful. Consider subscribing if you'd like to see more of my content. I also write an email newsletter that you can subscribe to. Till next time, take care. And remember to keep yourself aware of the very real reasons you had for breaking up. Trust your perception. What was real is real. It's painful, but you need this awareness to process the breakup, regain self-esteem, and move on.